Ravens practiced at the stadium yesterday. We had some standout performances from Tyler Loop, Keaton Mitchell, Lamar Jackson, Mike Green, Tavius Robinson, Travis Jones. We'll go through the highlights and some thoughts and observations from yesterday's practice. We also hear from John Harbaugh, Jaire Alexander, Tyler Loop, all that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Ravens practiced at the stadium yesterday. I didn't drop a video right after the practice. It was my birthday yesterday, and was just out enjoying the day, but wanted to get on here this morning and recap what happened at the stadium practice. The Ravens broadcast the entire thing live, so I mean there's a lot of footage out there. If you wanted to tune into the practice, I'm sure a lot of you guys were either there or saw the practice online, so this was more of a public practice than most of them, but still wanted to go through and give my thoughts and just some highlights and things that happened at the stadium practice that stood out. And speaking of birthdays, it is Jordan Stout and Tyler Loop's birthday, so happy birthday to both of them. And Tyler Loop was an absolute standout yesterday. 11 for 11, hit a 60-yarder. Every kick was absolutely drilled, and he was carrying himself with a lot of confidence out there. Reminded me of Tucker, and I don't want to keep comparing him to Tucker in any type of way, because Tucker's one of the greatest kickers to ever kick a football. So I don't want to put those expectations or pressure on Loop yet, but I was just saying from an energy standpoint, he was celebrating a little bit. He seemed very confident out there. So that did remind me of Justin Tucker, and Tyler Loop couldn't have had a better day. I mean, he didn't miss. He's honestly had an incredible training camp when you add up all the practices. Now John Hoyland's cut. Tyler Loop seems to be in the driver's seat, unless they bring Hoyland back or bring another kicker in, but I don't think so. I think this is Tyler Loop's job for sure now, and he's going to be getting a lot of reps throughout the rest of training camp and through the preseason, which I think will be good for him, and we'll see what happens when we get to the regular season. But I mean, all things look good right now, man. Tyler Loop had an outstanding day yesterday.
You guys saw him today, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty good, huh? I mean, I think so. We have a TrackMan now. TrackMan is used in golf a lot. It tracks the ball speed, tracks the distance, all that. I think that 60-yard field goal was good from 67. Yeah, and he was hitting the end of the wind. So, that's just a taste of what he's been doing, Yeah. I mean, he's had days where he's missed a few in a row, but every rookie's going to do that. I did that. I still do that, He's going to get over that, and he's going to be good. Man, once the ball leaves my foot, there's nothing I can do. And so it's fun to see the fruits of your labor, right? Go through your process and you hit all of your objectives. The ball goes where you want it, and it's a good feeling. And just being with the team in that moment, because it's a cool thing to hit that field goal. So that was really fun and exciting.
Another guy who stood out yesterday was Keaton Mitchell. I mean, what a comeback this guy has had, man. That injury was no joke. He tore a bunch of ligaments in his knee. He tore his hamstring. He had surgery. They told him it was career-ending, and now he's back and looks as explosive as ever. I think Keaton Mitchell altogether is going to have a really nice role in this team. I mean, he's going to be returning some kicks. He also is going to be a change of pace, third running back in a rotation. We obviously have Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. I do not think that he's going to play more than those guys. Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry. He's definitely going to be the lead back. And Justice Hill is so proven as a pass down back and pass blocking back and receiving back. I just don't see Keaton Mitchell taking over Justice Hill's role at all, but I do see Keaton Mitchell still getting in the game, as a change of pace guy. I think he could get 8 to 12 snaps a game, and I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 carries total, and one of those carries he might break off for a 30-yard touchdown or a 50-yard touchdown. That's what Keaton Mitchell is going to bring. He's a change of pace back who's extremely explosive, and then he's also going to make a big impact on special teams. There's going to be a lot more kick returns this year since they changed the starting field position, so I do think Keaton Mitchell is going to have a big impact as a kick returner, and then also a change of pace back to come in and spell Derrick Henry, Justice Hill when they need a breather. I think Keaton Mitchell's definitely going to have some of those explosive plays this year, and he looked incredible yesterday. I thought it was a strong day from the rush as well. I saw Travis Jones getting multiple pressures. I mean, he looks unblockable. I'm serious. I think Travis Jones is going to be a top 5 defensive lineman in the entire NFL. And he probably was that last year too, before that ankle injury. So in a contract year, Travis Jones is going to turn into an elite player this season. And we saw that on full display yesterday. Nobody could handle Travis Jones, to be honest. Tavius Robinson, another guy on that defensive line that was just pushing people back yesterday. He had a really strong day. I thought Mike Green had a great day. There was that one rep where he really bent low, man. I don't know if there's anybody on our team that can rush like that. Like, he has natural pass rushing instincts. He's a versatile rusher too. You know, he's not just a speed guy around the edge. He's not just a power guy. Like, he literally has a lot of tools in his arsenal already, which is crazy for a rookie coming into the league. We've seen a lot of the pass rushers that we've had do one thing or two things really well, but, you know, it took a couple years to really round out their game. And I think Mike Green's coming in just a little bit ahead of anyone else that comes onto the Ravens usually as a rusher. I really think he's ahead of that game, and just from a natural talent standpoint, he's going to be an absolute beast for us. I thought it was a strong day from some of the bubble receivers too, like Keith Kirkwood, Jamal Banks, Guillory, LeJontay Wester. I thought that they all had strong days. Keith Kirkwood's been stacking some practices up recently. There's also Dayton Wade in that mix. He's been stacking some practices recently. Jamal Banks and Guillory had strong days yesterday. Guillory had a bunch of catches. LeJontay Wester had a bunch of catches. I think that all of those guys are doing everything they can. You know, are they going to all make the roster? No way. You know, I maybe one of those guys make the roster. It's probably going to be LeJontay Wester, and that's not even for his receiving ability. I really think LeJontay Wester is going to make the roster because he's going to be the Ravens' starting punt returner. But excited to see all those guys in the preseason. I think that all of those receivers are going to play a ton in the preseason, and we'll have a much better sample size. I mean, this is just practice that we're talking about here. I know practice is important, but it's not as important as what happens in the game and the game film that these guys put out there. So I do think that I'll be watching those undrafted receivers and just those bubble receivers very closely throughout the preseason to see if anybody can really leap out of the pack. I think it would be out of those guys and possibly make the roster. We'll see. If LeJontay Wester's a starting punt returner, I don't know if there's any more room for someone else, because we're not going to cut a Tylan Wallace, so it's going to be tough unless we carry 7 receivers for whatever reason, but I don't see that either. So I think it's going to be extremely tough, but these guys are also playing for other teams too. You know, it's not just the Ravens, and the Ravens are probably going to keep as many of these guys on the practice squad as they can too. It was cool to see Jaire Alexander in the Ravens stadium for the first time as a Raven. He's still not running with the ones fully. I saw Awuzie opposite of Wiggins with the starting defense, but I think that that's just because Awuzie's been here. He probably understands the system a little bit better. Jaire spoke to the media after and said he's about 90% caught up on the defense.
Yeah, I'm probably about 90% there, 90%. I got great safeties who communicate the calls to me, so, you know, it's getting muscle memory now.
Jaire Alexander is going to be the starting outside corner opposite of Wiggins when the regular season gets here, but for now it's still Awuzie. They're still working Jaire in, but I got all the confidence in the world. I mean, Jaire has been one of the stars of the offseason, and he is going to have a major impact on and off the field for the Ravens this year. Some other guys who stood out at practice, I thought Sanusi Kane had a good practice. I know they can't really hit. They're not tackling to the ground, but he could have had some big hits. He was around the ball. Jalen Armour-Davis had a solid practice. Kyle Hamilton really stood out. He made a great play on a pass to Charlie Kohler that he just reached back and used his height to swat it away. Jaire Alexander spoke to the media after the stadium practice and was talking about Kyle Hamilton's height.
I mean, he's like 6'7". I call him, his nickname is 6'7". I call him that all the time. Like, he's huge, man, and I love that. Like, I love playing with a bigger safety, you know, that's going to be able to fill them run fits. Hey, man, you fill all the run fits you want. I'm going to cover it. You know, that's what I like.
We also got somewhat of an update from Emery Jones Jr. from John Harbaugh. I was hoping Emery would be back at this point. We do need to have some more O-line depth, and also just wanted to see him. You know what I mean? I wanted to see if he could play in the preseason just to see what we got, because he was our highest drafted offensive lineman. We got him in the 3rd round. So out of all the offensive linemen we drafted, you know, the highest expectations was Emery Jones Jr., and it's not that that's not going to work out or anything. It's just he's not approved by the doctors yet.
We were thinking mid-camp, but you know, until the doctor says he's cleared. He's not cleared. So, yeah, I know. You ask about that, I'm like, yeah, right, Emery Jones. But until he's out there, he's not out there in my mind. So, he's working hard. He's in the meetings. He's very determined. He's probably a little frustrated because I think he wants to get out there. But it's the doctors have to do what they think is right, and when they clear him, he'll be out there.
Hopefully Emery Jones Jr. can get cleared and get back out there and play some game in the preseason. I mean, I'm hoping he's not an IR stash. I wouldn't be shocked if he's an IR stash and then he'll just have to develop behind the scenes and we'll see him next year, I guess. But I think, out of all the offensive linemen, this was the one that I was most excited about. And I really think that we need some of that depth. So we could use Emery Jones Jr. But at this point, until he's cleared by the doctors, there's just nothing anyone can do. And the coaches are not going to give him much opportunity. They don't know what they have in him either. They haven't seen him either. So nobody's really seen Emery Jones Jr. And it sounded like from what John Harbaugh was saying that Emery's ready to go, but the doctors have to clear him. So we'll see what happens. And the last guy I wanted to talk about, the best player on the team, Lamar Jackson. I thought he looked great yesterday. We didn't see a ton of Lamar. I definitely saw more Cooper Rush and Devin Leary out there than Lamar, but Lamar looked quicker than ever. He looked accurate. Even that one ball he threw to Derrick Henry, I thought he just dropped in an absolute bucket. Trenton Simpson was a half step behind Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's not a receiver either, but it was such a perfect pass from Lamar. And we haven't heard a ton about Derrick Henry throughout the offseason either. I've been seeing some comments that are like, why are you not talking about Derrick Henry? Well, they're not tackling to the ground. It's tough to judge a run game with Derrick Henry when you really can't tackle. It's almost more exciting sometimes to watch a Keaton Mitchell or somebody because they're so quick and explosive and they're able to spin and cut and avoid defenders. And Derrick Henry does have some of that too, but Derrick Henry also runs through tackles, and he's not really doing that against the defense because nobody's really hitting each other like that. So it's just tough to judge the run game overall. If anything, I was just kind of looking at the offensive line to see how the holes looked and things like that. But from a running back standpoint, training camp is not the best time, especially nowadays in training camp when they really don't hit each other. It's just not the best way to judge a Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is going to be fine, man. Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer. He's an elite back. He's coming off a 1,900-yard season. I'm expecting he could do the same. He could get 2,000 yards this year. Derrick Henry is going to be a huge focal point of this offense. I know I haven't talked about him in training camp that much, but that's because the run game's just, you can't judge it like that. And Lamar Jackson also looked super strong yesterday too, though, man. I think the Ravens starting offense is going to be elite, is probably going to be a little bit more consistent even than they were last year. I think we're going to get better offensive line play. Lamar Jackson's Lamar Jackson. He's the best in the world. The receivers are stacked. DeAndre Hopkins, I didn't even speak about him. He had a great practice. He's had a great offseason and is probably looking better than a lot of people thought he would, to be honest with you. There's so many people that were saying he's washed and this and that. I think DeAndre Hopkins looks great, man. Is he going to be a super high volume guy week in and week out? Probably not, but he's going to get the ball in some big moments and he's going to make some big plays for us. So I couldn't be happier with this roster overall, man. Offense, defense, I think this is the most stacked roster we've ever had. I can't wait for this season. Can't wait for the preseason. We got practice today. I'll have another training camp update right after practice today. We got joint practice tomorrow. We got a preseason game on Thursday. And the season's rolling, man. A couple more weeks, and we'll be in Buffalo. Sunday night football. I can't wait. Cannot wait. But let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. If you went to the stadium practice, what else did you see? How was the atmosphere? Let me know. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.